Yeah. Um, wow, the lighting is really weird on the YouTube. I'm still not used to doing this. I mean, I've gotten so used to doing TikTok Live. It's so weird to like use a different application. It's just strange to me. So, good evening, Supreme Chancellor. And if you guys can hear football in the background, there's football running in the background. So, I do not know what football is running in the background. I think is it Washington? It's Washington. So, yeah. Hi, Omni. Oh, hang on. Did it? Okay, it let your thing. Okay. It does feel like the final days of the Republic. That's okay. I haven't gone to the Empire. I've probably gone to not the Rebels, but I don't know what was like a independent. I'm pro Mandalorian, I guess. What do stormtroopers watch off duty? And I'm sorry, I'm not dressed as Jen. I looked at my uniform. It's got dirt on it, so it's being washed. Um, so we're gonna do the last of Cloak of Deception. Um, Hi, if you're joining us over on YouTube, by the way, I'm Mando Mom. Hi, I do bedtime stories with Mando Mom. We read the Star Wars Legends books. Um, Usually on Sunday nights, I do my Death Star IT live, but since I'm still working on the kinks for that for other platforms, I'm not doing it tonight. And my uniform is dirty, so I'm gonna try my best to like keep track of both comments. So I have TikTok over here. Hi TikTok. And I have YouTube over here. Hi YouTube. Yeah, and definitely go follow me on my other applications so that if the Empire wins, I don't lose any of you because you guys have become like a really important part of my life, like or at least you become a regular part of my life that it would be really weird to lose. So yeah. So anyway, I think it's your Wi-Fi. I'm not having any internet problems. Um, I can take it off the internet. There. I took it off Wi-Fi there for a second to see if that does that make it any better, Omni? Yeah. So I gotta check and see if it's actually working on YouTube. Okay, it is working. All right. I just have to check and make sure that it works because I so very rarely use. This is not my normal thing. So anyway, welcome in, guys. We will be reading our final 3 chapters of Cloak of Deception. Am I still frozen? I hope I'm not still frozen. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with my hair tonight, guys. Um, It's Sunday, y'all. Is everybody ready for? Does everybody have the Sunday scaries? I definitely have the Sunday scaries. I know that like this week is gonna be insane, but I get to go to New York City, so that'll be fun. Um, my audio and video are out of sync. All right, I'm gonna. I guess I'll stop the stream and then I'll restart it. I don't know what's going on with that, so give me a second. I'm gonna come back here in a second. I'm gonna like leave and then come back. So hold up. Not you guys on YouTube, just TikTok. Ah, thank you for the rose, Visible Squirrel. Just give me 1 second. We're gonna end the live. We're gonna retry it because it's being weird. There. Is that better? Let's see if that actually works. So anyway, if you guys, oh, I don't think I'm getting very many people on the tube of you. I gotta figure out how to, there's a way to make it work where like I can be on Twitch and YouTube at the same time with this, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. So anyway, welcome back. Sorry. Hopefully it's not freezing and my audio and my video are now matched up. So let me know in the comments if I'm all synced back up again. Hopefully that's working now. So yeah. Whew. What a time to be alive. Is it better now? In sync now? All right, cool. So yeah, we're gonna read our last 3 chapters. We are on our last 3 chapters of Cloak of Deception, which is kind of nice. Yep. And yeah, so I think it's gonna be an interesting week. Tomorrow will certainly be interesting. I will definitely be sticking close to the news to find out what's happening. But beyond that, thank you guys for the likes. So, if you're new here, hi, I'm Mando Mom. I read Star Wars Legend books on live at least 3 times a week. I try to do 3 lives a week. Doesn't always happen because life, but yeah, I try and read 3. We try and read 2 chapters a night, 3 times a week for Star Wars Legends books. We read Darth Plagueis. We read Death Troopers. Obviously, that was out of order. And then we read Rise of the Red Blade this past year. They're not going to sell. Or they might, because I've seen a couple videos of them talking about, like, basically the United States government and ByteDance are playing, like, this giant game of chicken to see who flinches first. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how that's going to actually work out. But there is that whole theory that they're just playing a big giant game of chicken with each other to see, like, who's going to flinch first. Like, is TikTok going to divest first? Is the government just going to... Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if we're actually going to see, like, I don't think there's going to be a divestiture, but there might. So anyway, yeah. And for whomever's watching me on YouTube, say hi. There's one of you. That's the first time I've had a viewer on YouTube. I know you have done your best job, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, to keep the Republic safe. So we'll give everyone like 5 minutes, because usually I like to wait until like 10:15 till we go live, or till we start reading. So I'll give everybody like 5 minutes to hop in, go get a drink, go get a snack. My Golden Girls cup with some water. It's flavored water, but it's water. So yeah. Is everybody ready for the Sunday scaries? Or is everybody enjoying their Sunday scaries today? It's been a weird day. I'm definitely more tired than usual. I almost have my office / craft room back to normal, because I've been working on it for a couple of days now. Because I lost the dopamine to finish it. I was really excited to finish it, and then I just kind of like lost interest, but it's almost done. If you guys have been here for a while, you'll notice this is not the normal printer that is next to me. I switched over from, so I moved my big printer, Alejandro, back to the corner of my craft room. And then this is the new one. This is the Bamboo Lab. I wish there was like a better way to situate this and I could have both printers back in the corner, because they do produce a lot of heat, and that would put them in an area of the room where it would not like make the rest of the room kind of hot. But yeah, so my other 3D printer is right here. The Bamboo Lab is over here. Yeah. So I saw a comment thinking about changing my account to Emperor Palpatine near January 19th. that would be very par for the course, Supreme Chancellor, and I would laugh hysterically. And I hope for your sake that I would get to see it after January 19th. I hope, Supreme Chancellor, you have created a so Darth Lucifer, I usually do, but my uniform is dirty. And also, I want to finish the book so that we can be done with this. So yeah, usually yes, I do, but I did not do that this time. But that will change. Hang on, I got 11 new messages. Yes, I am here, Sailor Boy. Yeah, I would do Death Star IT on Sundays, but just not today. I will well, I think I'm going to go live every day this week. I mean, depending. Okay, if tomorrow, sure, if that's what you need, sure. I can be your mom too. I'm everybody's mom. So depending on what happens tomorrow, I probably will go live every day this week. And like I said, I will try and make sure I keep up with the regular schedule, 10 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays. To try and on the other applications. I will not be live next Sunday. Well, no, I won't be live next Sunday because I will be in New York. But we will. You don't like the recent Alien movies, Omni? I don't think. What was the most recent Alien movie? I think the last Alien movie I saw was Prometheus. I'm not a big Alien person. Horror sci-fi has never been on my list of. It's not my favorite. So, yeah. Can you turn off the overhead light, please, babe? Thank you. That makes my lighting a little bit better. Not by much, but a little. Good night. Yeah, so the most recent Alien movie I saw was Prometheus. Space Marines? I don't think I know Space Marines. So anyway, it is 10:14. We got one more minute and then we will read. And then we can be done. We can finish this book tonight, y'all. We're going to finish a whole book tonight. Look at that. Crazy. Well, I wonder if I can go do YouTube Live on my phone. My phone camera does better than my, The problem is where I have to put my webcam is such a weird place. That's why I don't like to do TikTok Live Studio, because then I have to, utilize the webcam, and the webcam just isn't it's not as good. My webcam just is not as good as my phone camera. I don't know why. And I think it's also partially the webcam gets such a wide angle, and you don't need such a wide angle with my setup, because again, my setup has been set up for TikTok, not anything else. So yeah. Hey Dallas, welcome in. Also, I realized chat does not work on Streamlabs. Oh, I might have to switch back to OBS instead. I've been using Streamlabs on here. I might have to switch back from Streamlabs to OBS. Because I noticed the chat did not show up on Streamlabs as it should have. So I don't know how to fix that though. I need somebody who's good at this stuff to show me what to do, because I honestly don't know how to fix any of this. Yeah. Anyway, are we ready? Let's get to it. We have scooch back a little bit. There we go. Let's get to it. Chapter 35, y'all. Almost done. 35, 36, 37. We're actually going to read 3 chapters tonight. The public corridors of the Galactic Senate overflowed with HoloNet correspondents, well-wishers, and the more civic-minded of Coruscant's citizens. Flanked by Senate guards, a rejuvenated Valorum moved slowly through the principal corridor, trading dignified nods with senators and ignoring questions hurled by media reporters. Supreme Chancellor, did you ever for a moment doubt that the taxation proposal would be ratified? A Twi'lek correspondent asked. Sai Taria answered for him. The issue has been controversial from the start, but everyone involved remained confident that the proposal would pass once all parties had an opportunity to be heard. Yes, politics. You working with a Word doc? A Word doc? What do you mean by Word doc? Like, am I working on a Word document on my computer? No? No? Oh, that's right. If I want to see chat, I have to have the other window open. There we go. Okay, we're good. An attractive human female shouldered away to the front of the crowd. Considering what happened at the trade summit, do you still feel that all parties were heard? Again, Sai Taria intervened. While tragedy compelled us to abbreviate the summit, much was accomplished on Aradu. Those who were denied an opportunity to speak were given ample time to voice their opinions here when the discussions continued. Discussions or debates, Supreme Chancellor. Valorum waved his hand in dismissal. Do you feel that taxation strikes a blow for the rights of the outlying systems? The outlying systems will surely benefit, Taria replied. But all worlds stand to gain as a result of this historic action. Contrary to the claims of many a would-be political pundit, the passage of this bill demonstrates clearly that the Senate has not grown too unwieldy or apathetic to act for the common good. Oh, I wish ours did. Another human correspondent shoved his way forward. Would you consider this to be the high point of your administration? Taria held up her hands. Later today, the Office of the Supreme Chancellor will issue a statement. Until that time, there will be no further questions. The correspondents grumbled, but ultimately fell silent and stepped aside as Valorum's contingent of advisors and guards steered him toward the turbolift that accessed his private chambers. Once there, he removed his outer cloak, sat heavily into his chair, and loosed a prolonged exhale. Thank you for running interference, he told Taria when the two of them were alone in the office. She smiled and took a seat opposite to him. We should issue a statement as quickly as possible. Do you want to compose something now? Valorum frowned, then got to his feet and walked to the center of the room, his hands clasped behind his back. Taria activated the record function at her wrist to comblink. For too long a time, the Senate has been bogged down by politics and procedures, Valorum began after a moment. But today we managed to sidestep the bureaucratic morass. We have succeeded in overcoming our inertia by setting aside petty squabbles and self-interest, and by banding together to strike a blow for the Republic itself. In this, we have reaffirmed our mandate and refound our way. While we are honored to have introduced this historic proposal, victory would not have been possible without the tireless efforts of several good and proper delegates. We shall refrain from going into the matter of how the vote was carried, but we do want to say that we owe much gratitude to delegates like... Valorum cut short his remarks when a tone issued from the office door. When Sai Taria opened the door, 2 Senate guards conducted Alderaanian Senator Bail Antilles into the room. Again, remember, Bail Antilles in this book is Bail Organa, not Bail Antilles. Just as a side note. In the Star Wars Legends books, Bail Antilles is actually Senator Bail Organa, Princess Leia's adoptive father, leader of Alderaan and everything. It's just because of the way that his name in Legends up until, I think... I'm not entirely sure when his name was changed from Bail Antilles to Bail Organa, but somewhere in like 2006, I want to say it was changed. So, just as a side note, when we talk about Bail Antilles in the Star Wars Legends timeline, for now, it is actually Senator Bail Organa. Correct. Give me 1 second. The dog is whining at the door. What, Stormy? Want to go downstairs? Okay, go downstairs. Yes, I am one of those people that talks to their dog like it is a baby. So. I'll put the blanket back on because apparently some people were offended by my thighs last when I live streamed on Friday, somebody was apparently offended by my thighs. I don't even know. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Ah! I have this lovely little thing on my chair that I can like used to put my feet up. I know, prudes. I don't know. They were just, for some reason, they were totally offended by my thighs. And I have no idea why. I have thick thighs, okay? Okay, hang on. Do I have it? I don't think I have a sticker. I have a sticker that says thick thighs and smutty vibes. I love that sticker. So I can't help it. This is where we're at. So people can deal. All right. In his right hand, the chair of the Internal Activities Committee held a legal-looking piece of Dura sheet. Supreme Chancellor, I'm sorry to be the bearer of raw tidings on a day that should be devoted to celebration, Antilles said, extending the Dura sheet to Valorum. But this document constitutes official notification that you are hereby requested to appear before the Supreme Court to answer allegations of corruption and illegal enrichment. Valorum blinked in stupefaction. He couldn't make sense of what he had just heard. This had to be a mistake or a joke in very poor taste. His heart thudded against his breastbone and he grew short of breath. He stared at the Dura sheet he accepted, then glared at Antilles. Organa. I demand to know the meaning of this. Antilles compressed his lips. Again, I apologize, Supreme Chancellor, but this is all I am permitted to say about this matter at this time. Oh, they're going to get Valorum on corruption charges. That's no good. That is definitely no good. It's also weird because TikTok is reversed. Well, I know that from where, yeah, but this is still like, what, a year or two before you become Supreme Chancellor over Valorum? I'm not sure where. Well, hang on. I can look it up. 1 second. Hang on. This is like a year. So this is like a year before Palpatine becomes Supreme Chancellor. Not quite, Jacqueline. Not quite. We have the last 2 chapters, chapter 36 and chapter 37 of Cloak of Deception, and then we are all done. We're all done with Cloak of Deception, and I'm not sure when so if my Maul book doesn't arrive tomorrow, I will go. Hopefully my Jen outfit will be clean and dry. So tomorrow, if I don't get the Maul book tomorrow in the mail, I will do my Dester IT Live tomorrow night. But otherwise, if we do get it tomorrow, I will do Dester. If I get my book tomorrow, I will read tomorrow like normal. Have you ever read the first books? Which first books? First books in reference to what? Also, it's weird. I just realized that YouTube has like it's almost like a 3-minute delay. The Solo trilogy? No. So I'm basically starting Legends from the beginning. So we're starting with Plagueis and then just keep on going. Because all of for me, the Legends books that I read, were all, up until this point, have been after Return of the Jedi. So I read things like the Crystal Star, the Jedi Academy books, the new Jedi Order. Like, I read everything up until this point that I read was sequel stuff. I didn't really read any of the prequel books. I read, other than the only books that I read that were Legends, which I don't even think they're Legends, they're just Star Wars books. The only books that I read that was prequel era up until, the last 2 years was, I read The Phantom Menace, I read Attack of the Clones, I read Revenge of the Sith, I read the movie books, but I had never read anything like this. I'd never read Cloak of Deception, I hadn't read Plagueis, so yeah. No, I have not, Jacqueline, but that sounds great. I don't really feel like having this blanket on me. You know what? People can be offended by my thighs, all right? I am a real woman. I have a real body, all right? I have never been a size 2, and people can suck it. I don't care. It is the end of this app. Whatever. Well, I'm hoping it's not the end of this app. I'm really hoping that tomorrow the Supreme Court will either go, let's kick the can down the road, and they'll just keep kicking the can down the road, or the Supreme Court will uphold that. The Supreme Court will be like, no, you can't do that. I am not particularly optimistic, but we'll see. I'm hoping, and I will. If you're on YouTube and you're watching me on YouTube, hi. Just so you know, I will try and go live on YouTube more often. I am trying to diversify my social media online presence or whatever it is. I'm just not a huge... It's just not... I've never felt the need to go live on these other apps. So yeah. We'll see. But yeah, we are gonna read. We can read the next chapter. If you guys are ready, we can read the next couple of we can read the next chapter. These chapters seem like these are really, really short chapters. I don't know. And then we can just hang out. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Maybe I'll start doing like Baldur's Gate 3 runs on Twitch or something. I also have Twitch. I don't use Twitch very often, but I have Twitch. Ugh. See, the bigger problem is I just can't get the right angle on this camera. Like, it's just not... I just can't get the right angles on it. Alright. Alright, I don't want to be like... I don't have like a Paris Hilton moment. Why not just crash a Star Destroyer? Crash as in like crash a party, or crash as in crash it into a planet? Like there's a big difference there. Alright. Range of jetpacks. I don't know what you mean by range of jetpacks. Like, are we talking about like what kind of jetpack? Like, I don't understand the question. I'd be okay with that. Supreme Chancellor, if you could just direct me to the closest starport where I can get a Star Destroyer, I'll happily take it. How far can jetpacks fly? I think it depends on the manufacturer of jetpack. Because, like... And, like, how heavy your armor is, and, like, how heavy you are, and all of that thing. Because if you remember in Mandalorian Season 3, when Paz Vizsla's son gets taken, he talks about the dragon having, like, it flies out of the range of their jetpacks. So, but, like, bows can go a little far, like, other Mandalorians can go, like, various distances with their jetpacks. I think it just depends on, like, how heavy your armor is. Like, Paz Vizsla's armor, he's considered a heavy Mando. His jetpack would not take him nearly as far as, like, a Night Owl's, because their armor's lighter, they're wearing less. So I think it depends on, like, what your armor type is, how heavy of an individual you are. So it just kind of... But how long you can maintain suborbital is also dependent on how, like, your armor, your body type and your armor. So it's not just a simple thing like that. Ooh, I know what. Oh, this is interesting. I don't think I can... Oh. Well, that makes me look too yellow. Let's go back to looking normal. Anyway. Oh, thank you for the follow, Cheddar. Welcome, welcome. Alright. Chapter 36. Valorum was surrounded not by Senate guards, but lawyers when he finally appeared before the Supreme Court almost 2 weeks later. During this time, his legal team had managed to discover that the basis for the allegations was an investment made in Valorum shipping on Aradu. Beyond that, Valorum was in the dark. The Supreme Court convened in closed session in the Galactic Courts of Justice building, an enormous edifice of pointed arches, tall decorative spires, and elaborate statuary located in the so-called Plains of Coruscant, not far from the Jedi Temple. Yes, Mandalorian helmets are vacuum sealed. If you remember, like, think of every time Din or even Boba removes his helmet, it depressurizes. So somehow they are vacuum sealed, even though they're open at the bottom. Just saying. Valorum and his lawyers were seated at a long table opposite the 12 robed figures who comprised the Judiciary Council. Bail Antilles, Bail Organa, and the members of the Internal Activities Committee sat perpendicular to the bench. The Chief Justice spoke, addressing Valorum. Supreme Chancellor, we appreciate that you elected to appear before us without being subpoenaed by writ. We are given to understand that this is an informal inquest, one of the lawyers said in Valorum's stead. Your presumption is correct. The judge looked to Antilles, Organa, who stood and spoke from his place at the committee's table. Your Honors, Supreme Chancellor Valorum, he began. Just 2 weeks ago, the Senate met in special session to vote on a motion introduced by Supreme Chancellor Valorum calling for a tax to be levied on all shipping and other mercantile activities in what were formerly known as the free trade zones of the outlying systems. An amendment to the original proposal directed that a percentage of all revenues collected by the Republic would be redistributed among the outlying systems for purposes of social welfare and technological advancement. Many business concerns located in those systems have already begun to reap the benefits of the amendment in the form of a venture capital bestowed by investors here in the core. One of those concerns is Valorum Shipping and Transport of Aradu, which has received an enormous sum for a company that has shown only marginal profits over the past several standard years. Hey, Silver! Yeah, Bail's a whack-a-mole. Valorum's lawyer suddenly interrupted. With all due respect, Senator Antilles, Organa, Supreme Chancellor Valorum was not made aware of the investment in Valorum Shipping until last week. Regardless, while it's true that the company bears the Valorum name and that the Supreme Chancellor is a member of the Board of Directors, he does not participate in company operations or involve himself with each and every commonplace business transaction. Oh, that's weird. Hey, Luna! More important, Your Honors, since when does it violate Republic law for a company to profit based on merit alone? In the case of Valorum Shipping, it strikes me as good business sense for investors to be drawn to concerns owned by prominent public figures. It's not as the Supreme Chancellor actively solicited investments. Furthermore, the Supreme Chancellor, as required by law, has made full disclosure of all his holdings, and his record with regard to earnings and taxes is spotless. Yes, I know. Thank the Force. The 12 judges looked at Organa. I'm just going to now replace Antilles with Organa. That way so we just remember who they are. The 12 judges looked at Organa, who was still frowning when the lawyer finished speaking. If I may be allowed to continue, the Internal Activities Committee does not take issue with any of the statements made by the Supreme Chancellor's legal representative. In fact, when this matter was first brought to our attention, we proceeded under the assumption that no infringement of protocol had occurred. However, Organa let the word dangle for a moment before continuing. Subsequent investigation has shown that the contribution to Valorum Shipping did not originate with Consortium or Venture Capital Group. Rather, the revenue was drawn from a blind account and moved to Aradu through a Coruscant bank of dubious reputation. I use the term moved advisedly, Your Honor, since the investment was tendered in the form of hard assets. Valorum's lawyers regarded one another in puzzlement. Of what sorts? The spokesman asked Organa. Orodium ingots. Ah, we found out where the Orodium ingots went from the beginning of the book. Ha ha. Blood drained from Valorum's face and a stir went through the room. Valorum and his lawyers conferred for a moment before the spokesman replied. Your Honors, we acknowledge that the investment begins to sound, shall we say, less than forthright. Nevertheless, Senator Organa has yet to demonstrate exactly how this matter relates to the Supreme Chancellor. Antilles' expression made clear that he had been waiting for Organa's expression made clear that he had been waiting for just this moment. He gazed at Valorum while he delivered his finishing stroke. What the Internal Activities Committee finds most interesting and questionable is that the value of the erodium, and indeed the quantity, corresponds exactly to a cache of ingots reported missing by the Trade Federation following an attack on one of their vessels, the Revenue, in the Dorvala system several months ago. Hushed conversations erupted throughout the room as Organa stepped out from behind the table and approached the bench. May I approach the bench? That's all I'm thinking now. I should start over. I just got here. So, Charles, we will be switching books. This is the very end. As you can see, we're at the very end of this book. We will be changing to a new book maybe tomorrow, sometime this week. And don't worry if you're like, oh, I want to keep reading. I have other platforms that I will go live on. Or Patreon. Maybe I should do the Patreon. We can go, I could probably just, maybe, would $1 work for everybody? Would like $1 on Patreon work for everybody? To do this? Would that be okay with everyone? I feel like $1 is, all right. I will set that up between today and tomorrow. We will set up the Patreon. Yeah. I think $1. I'll just make it like $1 or something like that. I forgot to do the circle at the end with the music. It's not done yet. I just put the book down because you asked a question about what the name of the next book was. So the next book is Darth Maul Shadowhunter. So we are... I'm bending this and I'm really feeling bad about that. But okay, so here's Rise of the Empire, 67 to 0 years before Star Wars A New Hope. So 67 BBY is Darth Plagueis. 33 years BBY is Cloak of Deception. This book, Darth Maul Shadowhunter and Maul Lockdown. Those are all 33 BBY. And then after that would be the Phantom Menace. So... oh, that's good, Blue Boy. I'm glad you had fun at Fan Expo. So we're doing Shadowhunter next, and then we'll do Lockdown. So again, I'm gonna keep reading because I'm reading books again. This is kind of nice. So yeah, we're almost. There's like 3 pages left in this chapter. All right. Your Honors, this is not an indictment. The committee merely wishes to be reassured that the Supreme Chancellor did not have a hidden agenda in supporting taxation as part of a scheme to enrich his own holdings in the outlying systems. The committee also wishes to be reassured that the erodium in question did, in fact, disappear from the revenue and was not simply transferred to Valorum Shipping to seal a clandestine partnership existing between Supreme Chancellor and the Trade Federation. Revenge of the Sith is 18 years BBY? Yes? I don't know. I'm probably I'm a bad Star Wars fan. I don't have it memorized, but I'll tell you here in a second. Revenge of the Sith is 19. Is 19 years BBY. Ooh! That's cool, Blue Boy. I like that you got a new kit. I'm working on my kit. I have to get it done by March 27th for GalaxyCon Richmond. So, if you guys are in the Richmond area or you're within like driving distance of the Richmond area, come say hi at GalaxyCon Richmond. I will be there. So anyway, just come say hi. Be like, hi, I'm so-and-so on the TikTokeries, and we can take some pictures and like do some fun stuff. Hopefully we still have like an app that we can make stuff on. We can make some fun videos on. So anyway, come say hi. If you can go to GalaxyCon Richmond, I will be there. I may or may not be at AwesomeCon in DC. I don't know yet. I'm waiting to see if Frostfire gets a cosplay invite, because then we can totally do AwesomeCon. It's just we haven't We haven't had a shot to do that yet, so we'll see. Anyway. Senator Palpatine was one of 100 or more senators who had been invited to Orn Freytau's lavish penthouse for an evening of exceptional food and extravagant drink. Surprise, surprise, Orn Freytau has a bunch of food. What had been touted as an occasion, however, had all the undercurrents of a conclave, and where outsiders assumed that its purpose was to celebrate Valorum's seeming victory in the Senate, it was instead intended to cheer his recent reversal of fortune. On the largest of the penthouse's many terraces, the blue-skinned Twi'lek host was holding forth an audience of senators who hung on his every word. Of course we knew about the alleged improprieties, but it was necessary to delay mention of the scandal to ensure that the tax proposal would be ratified, which wouldn't have been the case had Valorum been weakened beforehand. Less new armor, more new... Yeah, new armor always does turn heads. Ta shook his head and fat Leku. No, by waiting to reveal the allegations and by supporting Valorum, we managed to turn what might have been perceived as an instance of ordinary corruption into what hints at a nefarious plot that threatens the stability of the very Republic. But is there actually anything to the accusations? Quarren Senator Teeks asked, his facial tentacles quivering in prospect. Ta's enormous shoulders heaved in a shrug of indifference. There is the erodium, and there is the appearance of deceit. What else matters? If it is true, then Valorum has become a danger to the general good, Mott Not Rob remarked. That is a name. Teeks affirmed with an enthusiastic nod. I say we shake him before worse days endure. Others nodded in agreement, muttering among themselves. Patience, patience, Ta advised in a soothing voice. Baseless or not, the allegations have essentially crippled Valorum. We need only to rid ourselves of those senators who have buoyed him in the past, enabling him to remain afloat despite our best attempts to sink him. Besides, there may yet be some advantage to keeping him high and dry. What advantage? The senator from Rhodia asked. With his influence further eroded and the Justice Department stripped of some of its former authority, commissions will have to be appointed to render judgments and decisions he wouldn't ordinarily make. The power of the courts will increase, but cases will invariably take longer than ever to resolve, and yet Valorum will continue to suffer the blame. The courts take longer to decide things than the Senate. Hi, Tim. Right? This is basically the... I know. Star Wars politics, blah, blah, blah. Unless a strong vice chancellor is appointed, the Rhodian thought to point out. We must not let that happen, Ta said firmly. We need a consummate bureaucrat to serve as vice-chancellor. He leaned toward a circle of conspirators. Senator Palpatine has suggested that we do our best to install the Shargarian Mas Amida. But Amida is rumored to be well disposed to the Trade Federation, Teeks said in disbelief. All the better, Ta was gleeful. What matters is the more fanatical he is about procedure, the more he stifles Valorum's ability to act. To what final end? Mott Not Rob asked. Why to Valorum's final end, Ta said, and when that time comes, we will elect a leader with fire in his veins. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. Bail Organa is already campaigning, the Rhodian said. So is Ainley Team of Malastare, Teeks added. Ta noticed Palpatine standing by the terrace doors, engaged in deep conversation with the senators from Fondor and Aradu. I propose that we consider nominating Palpatine, he said, gesturing discreetly. Teeks and the rest glanced at the tall senator from Naboo. Palpatine would never accept the nomination, the Quarren said. He considers himself a supporting player. Ta narrowed his eyes. Then we must convince him. Think what it would mean to the outlying systems if someone from other than the core world was elected Supreme Chancellor. There might be finally equality for all species. He can restore order if anyone can. He has the right combination of selflessness and quiet power, and don't let yourselves be fooled. There is a strong hand concealed within those loose sleeves. He cares deeply about the integrity of the Republic, and he will do whatever is needed to enforce the laws. Teeks was dubious. Then we will not be able to play him as we have Valorum. That's the beauty of it, Ta said. We won't have to, because he thinks like one of us. Is this how it happens? Is this how it happens? They convince... Hang on. There's my shorts right now. There we go. Sure, he does. Right? Palpatine just, he so much cares. He so much cares for the Republic. Orn Free Taa becomes high-ranking senator. I know, this is it's kind of funny to watch, like, I guess this is, okay, this part is kind of interesting, because this part is very much, like, how did Palpatine, other than, like, Plagueis manipulating the system, like, this is the most interesting part of the book, because we're seeing how Palpatine actually got to be Supreme Chancellor. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting, and how Mas Amedda became, like, part of the thing. I don't like this flavor. Yeah, Palps was playing. Well, no, Palps was playing chess with them while they were playing checkers, but convinced them that they were all playing chess with him. Do the thing? It's not at the thing yet. We still have one more chapter. I'm assuming you mean the, like, I don't even know what the, hang on. I have to, oh. Can I still do that? I guess I can. I'm trying to think, like, what is... I don't know, should I do the Mandalorian? Oh, I guess I could pull it up on Disney Plus. Tell you what, give me a second. I will pull up... Don't trust Fat Leku. Hang on, I gotta pull up the Mandalorian. We'll do the... I'll do the end of Return of the Jedi. There we go. I have it set. So I can't do the circle inwards. I don't have the ability to do that effect on here. That is outside of my probability. I mean, if I downloaded the video and then, like, edited it, I guess, but I don't know how to do that. Orn Free Taa broke one of my good seats. I lowered his pay by 90% in return. How would he buy so much food then? I mean, maybe Orn Free Taa needs... I don't want to say that, because I don't want to, like... I don't want to fat shame... Okay, is it wrong to fat shame a fictional character like Orn Free Taa? I don't like fat shaming, so I don't want to do that. Orn Free Taa is just a horrible person in general. This has nothing to do with how big he is. He's just a horrible person. All right, last chapter. Chapter 37. Then we have finished the most boring Star Wars book ever written. Chapter 37. In all the years she had known him, Adi Gallia had never seen Valorum so despondent. He could be moody at times and unjustly hard on himself, but the allegations of corruption had tripped him into a dark place from which he could not surface. In the months since he had seen him last, he appeared to have aged a year. The Erodium was the Nebula Front's final stab at me, he was telling her. The terrorists were determined to take me down along with the Trade Federation Directorate. This has to be the explanation. And do you know why my family members on Aradu said nothing of the Erodium? Because they felt slighted that I had chosen to accept the hospitality of Lieutenant Governor Tarkin, who, it seems, has been something of a nemesis for them. I did so only as a courtesy to Senator Palpatine, who now feels that he played a guilty part in this whole wretched affair. Adi was about to reply, but Valorum didn't give her a chance. Although I asked myself and certain senators weren't involved, those who'd sooner see me disgraced than simply disempowered. Adi had come to his office in the Senate, which had become a place of purposeful whisperings and innuendo. The entire climate of the Senate had changed, and Valorum felt responsible. It was only a matter of time before you were exonerated, Adi tried to reassure him. He shook his head. Few are interested in seeing me exonerated, the media least of all, And with the terrorist Havoc dead, there is no one to say with certainty that the Trade Federation wasn't trying to buy my influence. If that was the case, why would you have pushed so hard to tax the trade routes? The tax alone is proof of your honesty. Valorum's weak smile belied his sense of helplessness. My critics have an explanation. To offset the tax, revenue that goes into the outlying systems will simply find its way back into the deep pockets of the Neimoidians' robes. It's all conjectural, Addie said. It will disappear. Valorum scarcely heard her. I don't care about what they say about me personally, but now all that I have accomplished in the Senate is questioned. I am made to answer to Mas Amida, who is consumed with a procedure that no new legislation will pass. Yet more commissions and committees will come into being, and with them expanded opportunities for graft and corruption. Oh, this sounds familiar! Valorum fell quiet for a long moment, shaking his head back and forth. The assassinations on Aradu, and now this scandal of wide-ranging consequences, it has already been made clear to me that the Jedi are not to become involved in trade disputes without the express consent of the Senate. But worst of all is the disservice I have done the Republic. The citizenry take its cue from the head of state, even when the one that has become a little more than ineffectual figurehead. I looked for the causes of corruption and found myself to blame. Did I conveniently forget all the deals I struck with malicious beings? Did I conveniently forget that I, too, had been corrupted? He put his elbows on the desk and pressed his finger to his temples, keeping his gaze downward. I had a terrible dream last night that seemed as much a reflection of my present circumstances as a vision of the future. In it, I felt myself besieged by nebulous forces, by wraiths of one sort or another. Something was reaching for me out of the blackness to crush me in its grip. Terrible, but only a dream, Addie said. Not a vision. Valorum managed to summon the same weak smile when he looked up at her. If only I had more supporters like you and Senator Palpatine. Better a few faithful supporters than a wealth of false friends, Addie said. Perhaps you could find some solace in that. In the High Council Tower of the Jedi Temple, the 11 Masters listened to Addie recount her meetings with Valorum. As ever, Yoda was in motion, walking about with his Geimer stick and cane. And because of the part they had played in the events, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were present. The Supreme Chancellor is correct about one thing, Mace Windu said. The Erodium could have only come from Havoc. Cole delivered the stolen ingots to him. Then Havoc set up the blind account and saw to it that the Erodium was invested in Valorum shipping. But why? Yarael Poof asked. By suggesting collusion, Havoc hoped to bring down both the Supreme Chancellor and the Trade Federation. Valorum, perhaps, Deepa Billaba said, but the Neimoidians have much of the Senate on their payroll. The Trade Federation hasn't been touched by the scandal. Indeed they haven't, Oppo Rensisis agreed. Too little thought we gave these events, Yoda said. All of us. Yaddle turned to face Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, who were standing outside the Master Circle. You two, flying here, flying there, chasing clues, if stopped for a moment to listen to the unifying force, see what was coming you might have. I did what I had to do, Masters, Qui-Gon said without apology. Yoda loosed a prolonged sigh. Blame you we don't, Qui-Gon, but exasperate us you do. Qui-Gon inclined his head in a bow. The scandal wasn't the sole work of the Nebula Front, Addie said. The Supreme Chancellor has other enemies, hidden enemies plotting against him, trying to maneuver him into a position where they will err gravely to be voted out of office or be forced to resign. To be replaced by the likes of Bail Antilles or Ainley Team, Sacy-Teen muttered. Bail Organa, sorry. Windu nodded. He has been too trusting. Too naive, even Peel remarked harshly. Yoda paced, then stopped. Help him we must, in secret if need be. The Jedi should not be involved in politics. We must heed the will of the Force in this matter, Windu said. We must be open to the ways to counter the treacherous vortex into which the Republic has been drawn. Perhaps we can help Valorum get wind of events before his enemies have an opportunity to stack those events against him. He senses perilous times ahead, Addie said, as if some darkness has been awakened, intent on spreading itself across the galaxy. Oh, you have no idea. Yaddle broke the silence. Tipping the balance is. Yoda looked at her. Tipping, yes, but from troubled times to untroubled. From bad times or to worse times? Windu steepled his fingers in front of his face. And what unknown hand is doing the tipping? Sorry, I didn't have it timed exactly right. Here we go, we finished the book. chapter! No! I thought there were only 37 chapters. Hang on, there's still 2 more pages. I thought we were done. Oh, God. Okay, chapter 38. Darth Sidious visited Newt Gunray and his advisors by hologram on the bridge of the Trade Federation freighter Sakak. Sakak? Oh, that is a bad name. S-A-A-K apostrophe A-K. Oh, that's so cool. Known in BASIC as the Profiteer. Why do they all have names like that? Congratulations on your promotion, Viceroy, the Sith Lord rasped in a manner that was made derision sound like a compliment. Thank you, my lord, Gunray was quick to respond. We did not imagine when you said you would convince our competitors in the Directorate that you would. That I would what, Viceroy? Perhaps you imagined that I would act with greater subtlety than that? Now, there is no one to stand in your way of acquiring an army or directing the future course of the Trade Federation. Hath Monchar, Rune Hako, and Commander Dalte Dauphine looked at Gunray in stark apprehension. I meant no offense, my lord, he stammered. Sidious was briefly quiet, if only that he could see his eyes, that he might have had a hint of what he was thinking. Soon I will be taking steps to eliminate some of your other competitors, he intoned a moment later. But that does not concern you. Instead, I want you to devote your energies to becoming familiar with the capabilities of your newly acquired toys, your battle droids, and starfighters and landing craft. Have Bactoid and Har Chal been filling your orders on schedule? They have, my lord, Gunray said, through an exorbitant cost. Don't try my patience with your talk of credits, Viceroy Sidious warned. There is more at stake than the health of your financial accounts. Gunray was close to trembling. What would you have us do, my lord? We are going to put your new army to the test. Gunray and Hath Monchar exchanged fearful glances. A test? Monchar said. Sidious seemed to gaze at him for an uncomfortably long time. I suspect that you are hardly thrilled by the Senate's sanctions of taxation of the trade routes, he said at last. Gunray nodded. The Senate has no right. Of course not. And what better way to demonstrate your displeasure than through a trade blockade? Oh, there we go. Of Iradu? Gunray said eagerly. Because of what happened? Iradu would respond with force, Viceroy. We don't want a war. We want an embargo. What world shall it be? Monchar said. I suggest we strike at the home world of the senator who was most responsible for championing the taxation bill of Naboo. Naboo? Hako said in genuine bewilderment. Sidious nodded. Senator Palpatine is adept at dissembling his real nature. You scarcely realize how much damage he has already caused. So Palpatine is talking about himself. But would such a blockade be legal? Gunray asked. Okay, Supreme Chancellor, one question before I forget. One quick question. Are Palpatine and Sidious two separate people? Like, do you believe that they are two separate people? Like, when Sidious is Sidious, does Sidious know about Palpatine? Does Palpatine know about Sidious? Do they actually like each other? Or, like, are they just one of the same? They just sort of wear a costume. I'm really curious. When he's alone, does Palpatine talk about Sidious in the third person? But would a blockade be legal? Gunray asked. Valorum will never sit still for it. I have a surprise in store for the feeble-tempered Valorum, Sidious promised. What's more, the scandal surrounding the Supreme Chancellor has led many senators to rethink the taxation legislation. Few will grumble about a trade embargo of a world so distant from the core. Monchar stepped forward. And what of the Jedi? They are already constrained from interfering. But if they do, my lord, Gunray said, we will not be subtle in dealing with them. Gunray bowed his head. Once again, we place ourselves in your hands. Sidious smiled faintly. As I told you once before, Viceroy, you serve yourselves best when you serve me. There we go. There. Now we're officially finished. We're officially finished. All done. All done. No more. No more. Goodbye, most boring Star Wars book ever written. I'm done with you. Done. Done. Ugh. This music is perfect. No more Cloak of Deception. Yay. Okay, my feet are cold, but my legs are warm. Yeah. So, woohoo! All done. No more boring book. No more boring book. Hopefully the next book will be more fun. I know my brother has mentioned that he would like me to read Heir to the Empire. He wants me to read the Thrawn trilogy, which I considered, but who's my chair? I don't know. It's not a brand. Do we wait for a bonus scene? I mean, there's not even an epilogue in this one. There's no epilogue. There's just like an excerpt from the new Jedi Order. That there's not even epilogue. So I don't know. There's no end scene. There's no movie. There's no film after the credits kind of thing. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you. But yeah, So yeah, my brother asked if we were going to read the Thrawn trilogy. I said I've just been reading the we're just going in order of the Legends timeline. So next book is Shadowhunter. And we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going until we read all of them. I didn't even look. I should have looked. Well, I think all of the Star Wars books that I have downstairs on my bookshelf are all like sequel trilogy, like sequel after the sequels. I don't think I have. The only ones that I have that are not after the sequels are the ones that take place that are the movie books. So the prequel movie books. Did I read Wild Planet yet? I have not. Hello, Robert Stevenson. Robert Stevens. Sorry, not Robert Stevenson. So we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, anyway, I will work on getting a Patreon set up. I mean, there is already a Patreon. That's The Real Mando Mom. But I didn't really set up any tiers or anything yet. So I guess I can set up tiers on Patreon. I am doing okay. I'm okay. It's not great, but I'm okay. I still would like to read the Padme books. I guess what I need to do is like, okay, we read the Padme books. I'll read what is it? Queen's Peril. I'll read that one in my my Padme hoodie. And I'll read I always forget the name, like the order that they're in. I don't know if we should read we'll sneak the Padme books in between, like where they fall in the timeline. So I gotta figure out where they fall in the timeline, and we'll sneak the Padme books in there, because I really do want to read the Padme books. I do want to try and like sprinkle in what is considered modern day canon, in addition to the Legends timeline. So really, I gotta figure out how to go live on Patreon. I know you can. I know it is a possible thing to do. There we go. First two are before episode 1. wait, hang on. Padme books, Padme's election campaign. No, so there's 3. So no, Padme was elected. If you remember, I don't know if you were there that night. So at the end of Plagueis, you actually got to have like it set the scene for Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, Queen's Hope. Queen's Shadow I think is before. I have to look it up. I have to look up the timeline. Hang on, Cozy. All right. So yeah, there's 3 Padme books that are sort of like what happens. Hang on one second. Anyway, goodbye YouTube. Live is over. Not TikTok. Live is over on YouTube because we're done reading for tonight.